This is a desperate plea for help, and my name is Chelsea. I am a 28-year-old woman, and I find myself in a situation where I desperately need your guidance. My husband Mark and I are on the brink of a major crisis, and I'm utterly lost. We've been married for a year now, but our relationship of 4 years before marriage was harmonious and blissful. However, I confess that my own selfishness led me down a regrettable path. About a month ago, Mark and I went on a double date with his coworker, Chad, who is 32, and his wife, Ellie, also 32. Chad and Mark had a professional history spanning 3 years, and they had attended each other's weddings. We had shared office dinners before, but we weren't particularly close to Chad and Ellie. The idea of making friends as a couple appealed to us since we had been navigating life mostly on our own. During that fateful double date, I couldn't shake the feeling of inadequacy. It seemed as though Mark and I didn't belong at the same table as Chad and Ellie. I was captivated by the way Chad treated his wife, and it made me question my own marriage. The following day, I made a terrible decision. I texted Chad, asking him to go out for drinks. Surprisingly, he agreed immediately, and we met up after my work shift. I lied to Mark, telling him I was going out with friends after work. Chad and I went out, and what started as a casual evening turned into something much more. He was shamelessly flirtatious, and I found myself drawn to his attention. The night escalated, and I ended up waking up alone in a luxurious hotel room, completely naked. I was bombarded with missed calls and messages from Mark, as well as a lengthy text from Ellie. In that message, she bluntly informed me that she was aware of her partner's infidelity and that I wasn't the only one. Strangely, she seemed strangely fine with the situation, but warned me to stay away from Chad. I am now left grappling with the aftermath of my actions, feeling utterly lost and desperate for advice. She was determined to tell my husband the truth. Initially, I attempted to reach out to Chad to inquire about my whereabouts and what had transpired with Ellie. However, my calls went unanswered, automatically diverting to voicemail. In desperation, I returned Mark's call, hoping to alleviate his mounting worries. I assured him that I was merely spending the night at my best friend Shay's place. That's when he dropped the bombshell. He knew I was lying. Mark had diligently contacted all of my friends, and they all stated that they hadn't seen me in weeks. He had even reached out to Shay first, and she too confirmed that she hadn't laid eyes on me for weeks. Mark then requested that I send my location immediately. He arrived at the hotel to pick me up, and as we approached the reception desk, a surprising revelation unfolded. They asked if he was Mr. Chad. In that moment, it dawned on him, and he swiftly whisked me away from the hotel. The ride back home was fraught with deafening silence. He asked me to find a new place and move out the following day. Since that incident, he hasn't set foot in our home. A month has passed, and I've yet to make any attempts to secure a new place to live. I held onto the hope that somehow we would find a way to mend our shattered relationship. However, fear grips me now. I dread the thought of being without him. The prospect of becoming a divorced woman, merely a year into our marriage, terrifies me. I won't deny my wrongdoing, for I know that I was unquestionably in the wrong. I foolishly believed that marriage was about sharing both the joys and sorrows of life together. I acknowledge that cheating is a grave transgression, an irredeemable act. Mark had been an exemplary husband, and I took his unwavering love and support for granted. I am filled with shame and sorrow for letting myself descend into such a pit of darkness, betraying the man who deserved none of this. I allowed lust to cloud my judgment, succumbing to a fleeting temptation that seemed like a solution to a problem that didn't even exist. Now I'm lost, not knowing where he is. I meticulously reviewed our bank transactions together, but there was no trace of him checking into motels or any suspicious expenditures. My attempts to contact my mother-in-law went unanswered, leaving me on the verge of a breakdown. I'm losing my sanity. What on earth should I do? An update. It's been a little over 6 months, and I feel like I'm unraveling. The last time I saw Mark was 7 months ago when he arrived at our house with divorce papers in hand, accompanied by his mother. She coldly instructed me to sign the papers, pack my bags, and either go back to my parents or find a temporary place to stay until I could relocate. Mark informed me about a court hearing scheduled in precisely 2 weeks. Today, 6 months later, I signed the divorce papers in court. Mark didn't spare me a single glance. I can't bear to let him slip away like this. Is there anything I can do to win him back? Perhaps I could give him space and attempt to reach out again in a few months. When the storm finally subsided, I found myself unable to focus at work and incapable of living my life normally without him. I had managed to secure a new place just a few blocks away from our old home with Mark. I heard he moved back in about 2 weeks ago. The ache for him was relentless. I had taken his love for granted, foolishly comparing our relationship to others. To my disbelief, I discovered that Chad, the man I had betrayed Mark for, didn't even truly love his wife, Ellie. He was with her solely because of her wealth, enjoying a lavish lifestyle funded by her. In my misguided pursuit of something different, I lost my love for someone who had once seemed like the perfect husband, but had recklessly betrayed his wife with multiple women. I am aware, Chelsea, that I cannot condone your actions. You cheated on Mark, a man who loved you deeply, and the consequences are now yours to face. It's devastating to realize that you took him for granted and allowed lust to lead you astray. Marriage is founded on trust, love, and commitment, and you shattered all of those vital elements. Mark deserves someone who values his trust and treats him with the respect he deserves. At this point, what you need to do is respect his decision. Allow him the space he needs, and give him the opportunity to move forward with his life. It's crucial for you to learn from this painful experience, to grow as a person. Cheating is never a solution to any problem in a relationship. It's time to accept responsibility for your actions, to face the consequences of your choices, and to commit to becoming a better version of yourself. As for the second story, fellow Redditors, I welcome you. I find myself in a perplexing situation and could genuinely use some guidance. Allow me to provide you with some context. I am a 34-year-old woman, married to my husband, who is 35, for the past 3 years. We've been together since our college days, which adds up to about a decade in total. Our relationship hit a rough patch after we got engaged, prompting us to take a break to assess our feelings. During this time, we agreed not to involve ourselves with other people. Here's where things took a dark turn. In the course of that 3-month break, I ended up dating and being intimate with a close friend who also happens to be friends with my husband. I am fully aware of how awful this sounds, but during that period, I genuinely believed our relationship was over and made some regrettable decisions. When the break ended, my husband and I reconciled. Strangely, I chose not to disclose my brief involvement with our mutual friend, deeming it irrelevant and devoid of any emotional attachment. Fast forward to the present day, I recently had a nightmare about the entire situation. This prompted me to ask my husband if he had been with someone else during our break. To my relief, he hadn't. However, he posed the same question to me, leading me to confess about my involvement with our mutual friend. I'll never forget the look of betrayal on his face. Now, I find myself trapped in a whirlwind of conflicting emotions, uncertain about how to navigate this complex situation. I find myself engulfed in a tidal wave of emotions, grappling with guilt, betrayal, and confusion. I'm uncertain if my actions qualify as cheating, and I'm utterly lost on how to confront this situation. My husband and I have long contended with trust issues, and now I fear that this might spell the demise of our relationship. I'm reaching out to you, Reddit, because I'm in dire need of objective advice. How should I navigate this intricate web of emotions and actions? Is there a path to redemption for our relationship, or is it doomed to unravel irreparably? I'm genuinely committed to making amends, but I'm unsure where to begin. Please help me find a way to navigate this messy situation. The affair stretched over a little more than 3 months, but as soon as my husband and I officially reconciled, I promptly ended things with the other person. I want to address the assumptions some may be making regarding our break. It was not initiated by me due to an ongoing involvement with the friend. That couldn't be further from the truth. The break was initiated because we had encountered several unresolved issues, and I believed it was necessary to address them before progressing our relationship further. I was already acquainted with the friend, and yes, we were talking, but nothing physical occurred until after I went on a break with my husband. During the break, the involvement with the friend became physical. Some comments have pointed out that I was emotionally attached to the friend before the break, essentially engaging in an emotional affair. At that time, I was in a committed long-term relationship, effectively engaged to my now husband. Despite this, I chose to date and be intimate with a mutual friend. It's crucial to acknowledge the gravity of this situation and the profound pain it has caused my husband. The emotional toll and turmoil this betrayal has stirred within him cannot be underestimated. I must confront my mistake and take full responsibility for my actions. The impact of what transpired during the break has undoubtedly left my husband feeling deeply betrayed, and his emotional struggle is entirely justified. If I genuinely want to salvage our relationship, it demands difficult conversations, vulnerability, and perhaps even professional intervention. Rebuilding trust is a challenging and lengthy process, but it's possible with genuine commitment from both parties. I understand the immense effort it will take, but I am willing to work through this. I appreciate your advice and well wishes,